So if your character realizes the dream he or she started with, you will have an ending like the one witnessed, where John must atone for his inability to catch the killer and for causing his partner's death. His dream is realized by arresting his boss and returning to his own life. This is a classic ending wherein the main character retains his or her original dream from Act 1. As I've said, a new ending is possible where he could do something else, but more about this later. Okay, so to recap the action of Act 3, on his last trip to the general store, John tries to reach Carter, that's his partner, but learns he has been killed, supposedly in the line of duty, though we know it's murder. John realizes that Chief Schaefer is working with McPhee, and he calls to threaten him. While in a modern part of town, the locals mock John and his Amish friends. John can't contain his anger and starts a fight. The other Amish rebuke him, and upon returning to their village, John realizes that he could never fit in and must leave. He and Rachel embrace and kiss for the first and the last time. At that point, we cut away, and Chief Schaefer and McPhee then discover which town the Laps reside in, and they bring additional troops and go off to kill John, or at least capture him. John and his enemies play a game of cat and mouse, and John kills all but Chief Schaefer, who uses Rachel as a hostage, but then gives up when he recognizes that there's no way out. The cavalry, as usual, arrives too late to sort out the mess, but John readies himself to return to Philadelphia, and he says farewell to both Samuel and Eli, and then approaches Rachel. He tries to say goodbye and fails, because there are no words that convey what he has to say. They part sadly. John gets into his car and drives back to his old life. Understanding how the four-method magic question relates to the action. The third act is where the resolution of the dream occurs. John realizes that he will never fit into the nonviolent world he has come to respect, so he reverts to his old behavior, thus giving Rachel up forever. He kills the murderer McPhee and his henchmen and brings his crooked boss to justice. Think of this as a traditional ending where all the questions Act and Raised 1 are answered in the affirmative. In a non-traditional ending, John might have abandoned his old life for one with Rachel and then been challenged to deal with his own enemies in a more nonviolent way. So now, just to recap that before we get here, okay, in Act 3 you have two choices. The ending can be the traditional way where the character achieves his dream, which is a happy ending. It can be a tragedy, as what happens in The Godfather, where because of the change he does what his father wants, which is destroy all of his enemies, but he loses his own dream, which was to be independent.